I believe that he is coordinating with Putin. I think he's coordinating with Kim Jong-un, actually. I mean, I think there's a lot more going on here that meets the eyes. He's going to take down the Fed. Like right now, Trump has executive control over the Fed because of all the emergency things and basically we're in a war, right? So he's declared that we're in an invisible war, and that gives him all these certain powers. So right now he's really the control of the Fed. The oil prices are crashing. We're going to see the dollar get devalued. Then he's going to just do a move, and he's going to reboot the economy with a gold-backed dollar, and the Fed will be in-house. We don't need a debt-based system anymore. Look, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going to be. We don't need a debt-based system. And then once you do that, he's already started things like saying things out loud like, we're going to arrest all the interest on student loans right now, and we're going to let them not make their payments and not accrue any interest. And then he's actually said out loud, and maybe down the road, who knows, which is basically saying we will probably just end up forgiving all that. So there's, the upside is actually more than we can imagine, which is kind of where I've seen myself get a little bit stuck. It's like, I actually can't imagine, this is just my personal example, I can't imagine a world where it's okay for me to practice the way I practice and not risk going to jail, because my entire adult life that's been in my background. I can't imagine a world where I never have to look behind over my shoulder. I can't imagine that. I think it might be coming though, and I'm going to learn to live in that happily.
I'm getting goosebumps. I mean, in one sense, this is hope. This is the actual
This is hope. This is the hope.
Yeah.
20, 30 years ago for sure. So before I had my daughter, who's now going to be turning 34 next month, I knew that probably the planet was going to have to do some kind of a big reset. And a lot of the metaphysical and spiritual people I hung out with at that time were also talking about that. So I figured, okay, if that's going to happen, I didn't have any fantasy that I'd be a leader of any kind of a revolution, because I knew that wasn't what I was here for. But I said, if that's going to be happening, I need to be in training and development so that when it is happening, I can be useful in all that. And I truly believe that's what's happening now. I've been training and developing for 40 years for all of this chaos. I had no idea it would look like this, Dave. I had no idea it'd be a freaking virus shutting down the world and forcing a reset. But I also had no idea that we'd get a team behind Trump like we have, where people were saying, okay, we're not going to let our country be destroyed, and we're going to put together a plan, and we're going to execute it slowly over time. And I think that's what we have. So, I think there's a lot of hope.
And what's crazy is, who did have the idea? Dean Koontz and Sci-Fi authors.
Yes, of course.
We wrote this. I wrote this screenplay a couple years ago. This is called The Brazen Serpent, and the whole opening of this is called "The World is Sick." The Middleton virus has taken over the world. There's signs outside that say like, "Don't come in contact with anybody. Don't touch anybody."
Wow.
Everybody's wearing masks. And then one pharmaceutical company comes out with a cure. It's called Buchanan United, and they come out with a cure called Venoxin, which is made from the venom of snakes. And so they're the richest company in the world now because everybody in the world is taking their pharmaceutical. And so this story goes about this guy that's going to take down that regime. But it's like the virus thing is what sci-fi authors kind of go to. And not just that, but I mean, sci-fi authors write the next false flags 30 years ahead of time. It's been kind of a cycle.
30, yeah.
It's like even the Titanic was written, I think 20 to 30 years prior to the Titanic happening. There was a book written called The Titanic, which described the whole situation 30 years before it happened. There's too many coincidences like that I'm just like, nothing just happens. Like,
no, it's called anthropomorphic resonance. It's in the resonance of the field. Enough people think about it or write about it or do stuff, and it's in the field. It's going to precipitate into consciousness. It's going to get actualized.
This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutra.com. Whole family nutrition.